First, thanks to Tom New and WQLN Public Media for having me back to present the State of the City Address. I'll speak about what we've done in 2019, as well as what lies ahead for 2020 and 2021. But first, I have to deliver two more thank yous. First, to my wife, Rhonda, for her patience with my schedule, at least most of the time. Sometimes she does have to put her foot down and rein me in. Rhonda, you know I've loved you since we met 50 years ago on March 20th, 1970. My love for you continues to grow. Second, I want to thank my City Hall team. There are far too many key players to name, including every police officer and firefighter. But I can tell you this, without my City Hall team, I'd be lucky to accomplish 5% of the things I present to you today. So let's get started. As with everything I do, I will be open, honest, and transparent in today's presentation. I usually add accessible after open, honest, and transparent. But since I'm on TV, you can't talk back to me. But if you see me at an event or on the street, I welcome your input and questions. I also must begin with our 6-word mission: build opportunity, restore hope, transform Erie, and our 2-sentence vision statement. Erie is a community of choice. We celebrate our rich cultural diversity, our welcoming, vibrant neighborhoods, our world-class downtown and bayfront, our excellent education for everyone, and our abundance of family-sustaining jobs. This mission and vision govern everything that my team and I do. My main focus with you today is to present the 26 key performance indicators that we announced at our July 9th press conference to measure our success in making the vision more real over the next 2 years. But for the first half of today's presentation, I'll share with you a list of 12 of our 2019 accomplishments. The most transformative thing we did last year was conduct the People's Supper. This was structured around 8 dinner meetings over the first half of 2019. The participants included about 20 African Americans, 20 Hispanic Americans, 20 new first-generation Americans, and 20 white Americans. I could talk about this experience for hours, but here's the bottom line. These 80 area residents got to know each other and respect each other. They truly value each other as people, without regard to race, religion, nationality, sexual orientation, or the color of their skin. If I accomplish nothing else as mayor, I'd like to help every Erie resident to become like the participants in the People's Supper process. I'm also very proud that after a year and a half of work, the new LRTA took effect on July 3rd, 2019. That is the biggest thing we have done so far to transform Erie physically. We agreed with the county and the school district that if the new LRTA did not generate at least $20 million in new construction in the first 2 years, we would meet to redesign it. I'm very proud to tell you that in the first 6 months, the new LRTA has generated over $25 million in residential and commercial construction. I believe that by July 3rd of this year, we will have over $50 million of LRTA construction underway. Next, we've built a strong relationship with our sister city, Zibo, China. Chris Groner, Gary Horton, Glenn Renaud, and I visited Zibo a week back in April. I can tell you that I've never been treated so well for an entire week in my life. Since then, 7 Zibo officials have come to Erie in 2 separate visits. They have reached high levels of agreement about working together with Erie's hospitals, universities, and high schools. The most exciting Zibo idea to me is that they are talking about developing a Chinatown in Erie. This Chinatown would serve not only as a residence for Zibo citizens who may come here for medical service or for vacation, but also as a tourist attraction. I'm also very proud of the work that Moss Sela continued in 2019 with our Citizens Response Center. Moss handled 2,529 calls dealing with issues from code enforcement to refuse to streets and traffic engineering. Moss gives me weekly reports on delinquent issues. I'm proud that the vast majority are resolved within a couple days. I also want to thank Moss for implementing the City Hall greeter program at State Street entrance in 2019. These volunteers have made City Hall much more welcoming and inviting. Next, we unveiled a new website last February. Thanks to the work of Andy Steinmetz, our previous media liaison, and Professor Kathleen Noche from Penn State Barron, the city now has a 21st century website which, with the touch of a button, can be translated into over 100 different languages. We continued our brown bag lunches with the mayor and our Mayor for the Day program in 2019. The brown bag lunches take place on the first Thursday of each month from 11:30 to 12:30. We limit attendance to 10 people so everyone can engage in conversation. The next lunch will be March 5th. Please call Margie at 870-1200 to reserve your spot at a future lunch. Also, on the first Thursday of each month this year, we'll be welcoming an Erie High School middle school student to City Hall as Mayor for a Day. These students learn about local government by spending the morning with me, touring the building, spending time in the police department, and visiting one of our firehouses. If they want, they can even climb to the very top of a ladder fire truck. We worked very hard in 2019 to fix three major problems in city's finances. First, City Council approved a 2020 budget that implemented realistic pension assumptions for rate of return and life expectancy. This will save the city over $60 million in expenses over the next 20 years by stopping the millions of dollars in increases in pension costs every year that resulted from the unrealistic assumptions. Second, we proposed a 2020 budget that would include a $90 million prepayment of the Water Authority's lease. This would have been used to pay down debt and save the city over $90 million in debt payments over the next 30 years. Council wants to study this further in 2020, beginning with a full appraisal of the Water Authority. I'm hoping that by mid-year, we can get Council's approval for this Water Authority lease prepayment so we can pay down our debt. The city's third major financial problem is that each year our operating expenses go up much faster than our operating income. About 90% of the city's budget is employee expenses. City income goes up less than 1% per year, while our expenses go up 5 to 10% per year because of increases in employee salaries and benefit expenses. We began working on this in 2019. We negotiated a salary increase with our firefighters union of 0%, 1%, 1.5%, and 2% over each of the next 4 years. We also imposed the same increase on non-union employees. We hope that to achieve the same salary increases for police, ASME, and the Teamsters over the next 3 years. We continued in 2019 to receive valued feedback from the many advisory groups we have formed, and those include the Mayor's Business Council, the Historic Preservation Task Force, the LGBTQ+ Advisory Council, the New American Council, Strengthening Police and Community Partnerships, the Erie Neighborhood Growth Partnership, the Better Together Council, the Mayor's Disability Roundtable, the Active Transportation Planning Steering Committee, and the Employee Activities Committee. I'm happy to report that under the leadership of Chris Groner and the hard work of our grant writer, Abby Skinner, in our Department of Economic and Community Development, the city raised $7,161,086 in grant money during 2019. This is enabling us to physically transform Erie in ways we could not afford to do otherwise. We continue taking a long view of the city's future in 2019 under the leadership of our planning director, Kathy Rosdick. Kathy is working hard to make sure we have a good plan for each of Erie's 17 neighborhoods. She has led door-to-doors in several neighborhoods so we can hear directly from the people. Most recently, she has been working with the city engineering department on an active transportation plan and a storm water feasibility study. Of course, we continue to be accessible to the community through our weekly news conferences, being on the radio every 2 weeks, being active in social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Nextdoor, and attending and speaking at meetings and events around the Erie region. This is my commitment to be open, honest, transparent, and accessible. That concludes the highlights from 2019. Now for the second half of the presentation, let's look at how we're going to measure our progress in realizing the vision over the next 2 years. At the press conference on Thursday, January 9th, 2020, we unveiled the city's plan for activating our vision. We identified 26 key performance indicators that will track our progress. Many city employees and community members have helped us identify these key performance indicators. Erie's 2-year Activating Our Vision action plan accomplishes the following 4 results. It explains programs, strategies that the city will implement to ensure that we are making an impact. It identifies metrics called key performance indicators for each of the 5 points of the vision. It sets and defines specific goals for each metric, reports the key performance indicators very regularly. For the first 3 elements of the vision, we have worked with department heads and key staff. Our goal is to achieve metrics by December of 2021. For the 4th and 5th elements of the vision, the city has partnered with the Erie Public Schools and with the Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership. Some of our goals mirror their timeline for completion by December 2024. This plan will evolve over time. We want to continue refining and improving and expanding the plan because it will take 10 years to transform Erie. I welcome continuing input from any Erie Region residents on how we can make it even better. To measure our progress on activating the vision, we have identified these 26 key performance indicators. We will track these key performance indicators to measure our success in activating the 5-point vision for Erie over the next 2 years. We worked hard developing these key performance indicators over the last 1.5 years. It has not been easy. For instance, we had to make sure we could measure each one. I'll confess that I've put some stress on our staff also. I have actually pushed to make the 26 key performance indicators stretch goals. If we are going to transform Erie, we have to push ourselves. There's a booklet which is available in City Hall that contains the details of our Activating the Vision plan. You can also access it by going to the city's website at cityof.erie.pa.us and scrolling down to the link for the Activating Our Vision plan. It's right below my smiling face. For the balance of today's speech, I'll briefly present the key performance indicators for each of the 5 vision statements. The first element of the vision is celebrating our rich cultural diversity. If I accomplish nothing else as mayor, I want to eliminate racism and prejudice in Erie. I want every individual in Erie to be welcomed and valued for the unique talents and skills that each one of us possesses. Our diversity makes us stronger as a community. If everyone feels valued, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual preference, or the color of their skin, there is no limit to what we can accomplish. Here are the 6 performance indicators we will use to measure our success in making every Erie resident feel valued. Attain a 26% minority workforce for all new non-bargaining hires. Increase the number of minority candidates taking the Erie Police Department exam to 15%. Increase the number of minority candidates taking the Erie Fire Department exam to 15%. Attain a 26% minority representation for all new appointments to boards, commissions, and authorities, and attain a 100% on the Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Index. And finally, that we achieve certified welcoming status with a minimum score of 91%. You'll see in the book that there are 10 programs related to accomplishing these 6 key performance indicators. I believe that working together, we will achieve this vision for Erie for every resident. When everyone feels empowered and valued, just imagine the great things we can do together. Second, my team and I want every Erie resident in the 17 Erie neighborhoods to feel that their neighborhood is welcoming and vibrant. As a team, we have 7 key performance indicators to track our progress moving towards this over the next 2 years. First, Erie's population will be at least 100,000 in the 2020 census. In the 2010 census, there were thousands of Erie residents not counted. Every uncounted person costs us $2,100 per year in federal aid. We need to count everyone: children, elderly, immigrants, refugees, college students. If 1,000 residents are not counted this year, we lose $2.1 million in federal aid every year for the next 10 years. Erie City home values will increase by 10% when compared to Erie County home values. Currently, city homes have only 73% of the value of a comparable county home, so our goal is to increase that to at least 83%. Next, 20 new single-family homes are built in the city of Erie. Open code violations per property decrease 10% per year. The number of unsound registered rental properties decreases by a percentage that we will set in June once we have finished the property conditions assessment of all of Erie's housing stock. Finally, there's $50 million in new investment in Erie. Actually, I think that one is probably too low. We're probably going to have to increase that. We're going to far surpass that. And finally, Part 1 police officer offenses decrease by 4%. These offenses include major crimes such as theft, shooting, and personal injury. My dream, and now this isn't a key performance indicator, but my dream is that we can soon have a year where there are no murders in Erie. The next element of our vision is celebrating our world-class downtown and bayfront. Many things have already begun to happen on the bayfront and in the downtown area over the last couple of years. However, there is still much to do. Our 4 key performance indicators in this category are that by the end of 2021, at least 100 market rate residential units are under construction. Next, the iconic connection on the bayfront is funded and under construction. Third, at least $5 million in investment is committed to implementation of the downtown streetscape master plan, and at least 40,000 square feet of new Class A office space is under development, and I'm thinking that one might be a little too low as well. We may need to up that a little bit. We are committed to ensuring that the downtown and bayfront are safe, welcoming, world-class places where people want to live, work, and play. I am excited and look forward to the upcoming transformational projects that will be unfolding in the coming months. The 4th key to transforming Erie is that we have excellent education for everyone. The students in Erie School District are the future of Erie. That is why we are committed to helping the Erie School District in any way that we can. The first 4 of the 5 key performance indicators in this category are identical to the Erie School District's goals with their completion date of 2024. Here are our key performance indicators. First, 90% of students are achieving a 95% attendance rate. Second, 100% of students are participating in their communities. Third, there is a 50% reduction in behavior incidents involving African American students. Fourth, 100% of the students graduate from high school. And now number 5, the only educational component that Erie is missing, in my opinion, is a community college. That is why our 5th key performance indicator is that Erie County has a brick and mortar community college in the city, preferably on the Lower East Side. I really appreciate all the work that Kathy Dahlkemper, Gary Lee, and many others have done to bring a community college to Erie. There is a community college public hearing on Wednesday, March 18th at 10 a.m. at Blasco Library, and I encourage everyone to attend that. I love the Student Voices sessions that I've been participating in this year in Erie public middle and high schools. Michael Outlaw, my community liaison, and Ken Nixon, Erie Public Schools Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, arranged these sessions. In addition to me, several police officers, African American leaders, and individuals reformed from a life of crime participate in these sessions. The students are the future of Erie, and I look forward to working closely with the school district staff to ensure they all have the opportunity to have great lives. Finally, our last vision point is that Erie has an abundance of family-sustaining jobs. My team and I are working hard to identify and fill gaps. I am energized by our partners at the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership, who are taking the lead on attracting businesses and jobs of the future to Erie. Working with CEO James Grunke and his staff, we have identified the following 4 key performance indicators. First, we have 1,000 more family-sustaining jobs in the city by the end of 2024. This will happen by creating new jobs through Erie Forward and retaining existing jobs. Second, per capita income increases by at least 5%. Third, the percentage of employees living and working in the city increases by 5%. Did you know that 60% of the people who work in the city live outside the city? We want to reverse that. Next, 25 or more acres of industrial manufacturing property is identified for redevelopment. The last three key performance indicators will be measured through 12/31/21. The Chamber's expertise and leadership is crucial in bringing economic success back to our entire region. I'm very pleased that we have the opportunity to partner with them on projects, programs, and initiatives. We have taken the first step with the 26 key performance indicators to track and measure our progress on transforming Erie and making our vision reality. I hope these are more than just words to you. What we need most now is your input. City government cannot accomplish these 26 key performance indicators alone. Private sector leaders, nonprofit organizations, philanthropic, and educational institutions all play a huge role in this transformational change. As the city does its part to be an active player, we also seek the assistance of community partners to lead the change. So, I invite everyone listening to help us transform Erie. And here are 7 ways that you can make a significant impact. First, implement and/or invest in the East Bayfront or other approved neighborhood plans. Second, fund the Downtown Streetscape Master Plan. Third, contribute to a fund for the completion of the Bayfront Central Corridor. Fourth, sponsor a community school. Fifth, donate to the Police Athletic League. Sixth, donate to Celebrate Erie. And seventh, donate to the LERTA Community Reinvestment Fund. The 26 key performance indicators I presented today are just the first step. We look forward to input, ideas, and directions about how we can make the key performance indicators even better. In fact, just after we announced this plan, I received an email from Sister Pat Lupo. She indicated that our plan for activating the vision is good, but we're missing a very big piece: improving our environment. The environment is very important for Erie's future. So we had a meeting with Sister Pat to discuss this further, and I look forward to hearing all of your input as well. Build opportunity, restore hope, transform Erie. Erie is a community of choice. We celebrate our rich cultural diversity, our welcoming, vibrant neighborhoods, our world-class downtown and bayfront, our excellent education for everyone, and our abundance of good family-sustaining jobs. Change is not easy. We have a difficult road ahead, but with challenges also come opportunity. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reimagine our community and to make our vision reality. So let's roll up our sleeves, work together, and make Erie's future, your life, and the life of every individual who lives here much better.